One of the great things about Toddle, I think their superpowers is their CEO is just a rock solid engineer.
Andreas.
Yeah, he's just a really, really good engineer with tons of experience. You're listening to This Week in No Code plus AI, with weekly episodes sharing the latest advancements of AI, plus exclusive interviews with founders using these tools. So without any further ado, let's get started. If any of you guys are looking to learn more about Bubble, whether you're a beginner or a professional looking to get certifications and take your skills to the next level, you got to check out NoCodeAlliance. It's been a personal project of mine for the last 2 to 3 years. I have 5 different courses there, all focusing on Bubble and taking you from zero to pro. And these courses tell you everything you need to know to start earning 6 figures as a Bubble developer. So go to NoCodeAlliance.org, either get started with the beginner course or take our package and go from zero to pro in the next 3 to 6 months, and you won't regret it. That's NoCodeAlliance.org. Back to the show. Welcome back to This Week in No Code plus AI. I'm your host, JJ Engler. Here with my co-host, David Powell. We have another fantastic show for you this week in No Code plus AI. We don't have an interview lined up, but that's okay because we have a slate full of news that you're going to want to hear about. So, David, why don't you get us started?
All right. We are going to start with some great news, some hearty congratulations to our former guest, our no-code champion, Phil Lakin, and the NoCodeOps team has been acquired by Zapier.
Boom.
Congratulations, guys. Boom, drop the mic. If you haven't seen
Yeah.
this, you probably saw it. He's on all the socials. He's on Twitter. He's posting. People are posting. Everyone, a nice congratulations. It is exciting to see Zapier get deeper into the no-code operations and enterprise landscape. That's what
Yeah.
they have talked about, that they brought this team on and the community, right? So that
Yeah.
they have NoCodeOps and their product operator will, although it will be wound down,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be, Jake is like, did you read the news before you talked about they are shutting down the product, but that's only so that they can focus more on bringing enterprise level support to Zapier, which
Yeah.
is fantastic, right? Just think about that. That means Zapier is doubling down. I don't know what the pricing is. I don't know anything about that, but they are basically saying, look, we think enterprises, Fortune 100, Fortune 10, Fortune 500, everyone needs to be using Zapier. And in order to do that, we need to improve better tooling. So we're going to bring on the experts in Zapier tooling. Well, what does that mean? That means now with better tools, more people adopt no code tools. Okay, so more people in enterprises are using no code. That means everyone's going to look at these companies and go, wow, they're using Zapier. And when those people who use Zapier in their jobs now go to their next jobs, bringing Zapier in and no code and automation into their world is going to be fantastic, right? And this
Yeah.
is going to mean, it's not going to be tomorrow, but over the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more enterprises adopting AI and no code.
Yeah.
And this is just great for everyone. So
Yeah, really
good
excited for
signal.
them. They launched in 2021. They were a lot of big people invested in them,
Yeah.
Bubble's founder being one of them.
Yeah.
And I met with their team early on. I actually was thinking about joining them as one of the developers early on. And they were building a great product which is called Operator. And essentially it allows you to monitor your zaps and your make scenarios to check to see if there's any kind of errors or anything like that. And
Mhm.
so along the way,
And
they
build
built
documentation
and
automatically.
automatically build documentation for
Mhm.
all those, because as these automations start to get bigger and you start to rely on it more often, then it becomes okay, like how do I manage this at a business wide level, and how do I keep it, online and
Yeah.
airproof, all that kind of
And
stuff.
transition it to people who leave the company. You don't want that
Right. There's
institutional
all that
knowledge to
stuff
leave.
that isn't really like thought of yet, and Zapier hasn't really done like a good job with yet, right? And so this is what they've been focusing on, and they've done a great job with that. And I thought the product they put out was really good too, but this really just seems like a team acquisition on Zapier's standpoint of just like, hey,
Mhm.
we have these 3 or 4 people that have been in this space of helping operators, not only learn but build more scalable, trusted solutions in the enterprise. Zapier make space for the last 4 years. Let's get them onto our team and let's help them grow our community and build up our enterprise division with all this domain expertise, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're shutting down Operator, and they're just like, hey, we want you guys to come on our team, and let's build this enterprise team even bigger. But
I do think Wade, the founder of Zapier, had invested in NoCodeOps.
you think so? Is it Wade or Will?
I think Wade Foster.
That sounds right. They might have. I know that they have a good connection, and that I think that's another thing to point out here is just like it never hurts to know enough people, like more people, right? Like
Yeah.
if you know that, like a person, like a CEO of a company that could acquire you, you it opens up the possibility or increases the chances of you getting acquired. Just really get hired at that point,
Hmm.
than not, And so
Yeah.
whether you're getting acquired because of your technology or just because of the expertise that your team has, it's nice to have that option.
Definitely. Definitely. So congrats to them. I'm excited to see what comes. Hopefully we can get Phil back on, talk about it, talk about Zapier now from the inside and see,
Well,
what
just
their stake
journey,
is. Yeah.
he's been doing this the last 3 years. I feel like they found traction with their product, but never like to the point where it just took off.
It
And
was
so I'm interested.
traction, maybe not product market fit.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah, but they had found product market fit with their community, and so it was like it was an interesting story that I'd love to hear more about with Phil.
Yeah.
So we'll try and get him back on the show. But until then, let's move on to the next segment. This is a segment that I own here is at Softr, we launched our ambassador program. Like many other companies, we wanted to have a core group of ambassadors that could help us host events, teach courses, interact with the community, help people on our online forum and to work closely with that group to make sure that they're really updated with our latest features. They get all
Hmm.
the access to our beta stuff. They get free, subscription, and a lot more just to make sure that we're giving them all the resources they need to go out and promote our product and to help others with our product. And so we have a group of 8 founding ambassadors now, and then we have a long list of other ambassadors that we'll look to slowly onboard. One of my big things here is trying to keep the group small and high quality and trying to, meet with each of these ambassadors on a quarterly basis to make sure that, we're giving them the resources that they need to succeed and we can help amplify their impact and whatnot with Software. So really excited for that. Also getting ready
Hmm.
for another big launch next week where we're updating our expert program, turning
Cool.
it into more of a professional agency, professional partner program, expanding it now that we're getting a lot bigger customers at Software, a lot bigger enterprises coming in, looking for more people that can supply them at that Fortune 500 level, that 200 person or more company, and just making sure that our agency expert program aligns with that.
So are people, when a big company like I don't know, Netflix, let's just say, comes in and wants to use software, are they normally diving in themselves and there's someone on their team using it, or are they hiring experts to
And
do it?
they can go both routes. One of the beautiful things about software is they can just get in there and do it. But then
Hmm.
some of these companies, I can't say, maybe I can't say any names yet. But some of these companies are just
Sure.
like, I just want you to build it for me, right? And here's
Yeah.
exactly what you need. And then at that point, we either work to pair them with one of our experts that would be a good fit, or they just go through the automated process and find an expert themselves. And so
Yeah. That's
that's where
that's
we
cool.
look to strengthen there at
Yeah.
software.
It's interesting. I mean, this all blends into the ambassador program and people wanting to be your biggest champions. One of the things that's always surprised me, we've now had a few different like guests on at agencies that are experts for a platform, and they talk about getting leads from the platform itself.
Yeah.
And I've just never heard of that happening at Bubble. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just handing them all off to AirDev, or I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening. They go to the gold tier and say, "Hey, go put this gold tier thing in."
Yeah,
Um,
Airtable is a good example of this. Airtable has like the highest tier agency expert, where with some of the partners that I've talked to, they might get matched 2 or 3 times a week with Airtable's sales team, bringing them in to
oh wow,
co-sale with them of just like, hey, we got this new client, they need implementation partner, and they'll bring them right into the sales cycle with them. And so
that's cool.
it is cool, and they actually don't do any marketing, they just rely on that solely, and that's their full and that works, right? And so,
Yeah.
depending on the company, depending on the program that exists, especially for the top tier agencies at the yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I don't. That's great. I think it's a great way to get stuff built so you have great use
Yeah,
cases
yeah,
and keep your community fed so that they're working and more people are building and aspiring to be at those high levels.
yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
hard
cool.
sometimes on the platform side because you want to share. you don't want to just pick a favorite. You want to share the love, all that stuff. But then it also requires the experts to keep you updated with what they have finished lately, their latest projects, client testimonies, and make sure that you can also deliver on the satisfaction that we would need for a client like that. And so there's a lot that goes into that relationship, but it's definitely out there, and each platform kind of handles it a different way. Softr is doing a little bit of that as well. And we're just seeing how we can make the biggest impact between our experts and the clients coming in looking for those experts.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
For all of you out there listening, if you are in the market for any kind of software development needs, check out Studio NoCode. It's our agency that's built on Bubble experts with nearly a decade of experience building all kinds of Bubble apps. Marketplace, social network, payroll company, catering business, data room, ad tech, legal tech. We got a little bit of everything. We've seen it all, and that helps us translate all of our knowledge into your app to build the best product for your customers. We built it professionally, we built it to be secure, and we built it to scale. And we're going to do all these things on time and on budget. So if you are looking for help getting off the ground, getting something to market, or anything in between, give us a call or an email or a carrier pigeon or whatever you want. Studio-nocode.com. We'll probably be there.
What's going on with Amazon?
Let's talk about Rufus. Rufus. I don't know why they named this thing Rufus. I think that's like an indie hacker
dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's an indie hacker. This isn't a name I would like name a stupid app that I didn't care about. In fact, I had a search app idea. I called it Fido because it was search and return. Anyway, a few weeks ago, we talked about Amazon Q, I think it was, that they had an internal document chat bot where you as your business could load content into Amazon and ask it questions, right? Just like many other platforms. Amazon has come out to announce their AI shopping assistant called Rufus. Rufus. This is such a dumb name. This is like Bard. Like they really missed the opportunity here. So basically, Rufus is an AI-powered assistant chatbot that is going to help you answer questions about your products, about recommendations, about order tracking. Basically, instead of using it for company data, it's you as the shopper. It's your data that you can ask about what's going on in your account, which is pretty interesting. Although I have seen some people ask just general AI questions that they're like, can you write me the code for this kind of button? And it answers because it's not smart enough to be scoped only into just your account. And now you basically get OpenAI for free.
I'm excited for the point where it starts to have memory and it knows your preferences. And it's just like, hey, based on everything, this is the one for you, right? You know, like I'm excited for it to get there. I'm sure it will. You know, I think all companies of all sizes are looking to integrate AI into all these different aspects. This is just another one. You know, Amazon is really heavy on robots too. Like they have, you know, tons of warehouses almost fully done by robots. And it's really interesting how they've been using technology for a long time to, you know, drive costs down and create efficiencies. And this is just another way of doing that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they incorporate advertising and promotions in here because I think it will be important. And it may be as simple as just like, hey, this is an Amazon brand, and so it gets prioritized in their instructions. So I think it could be cool to see how AI search this matters. I bet you they're going to offer this as a service to every shop owner, or like you could put this on any website after. I don't know. I think it's cool. We'll see. I don't know. There aren't that many things I do on Amazon. I buy something and then that's it. Maybe I return it.
Their delivery is getting faster and faster. It's like now where I live, it used to be 2 days. Now it's like tomorrow at like 2 a.m. It's going to arrive.
Oh, now there's the option.
Yeah.
But like, who's the guy who's doing the graveyard shift at 2 a.m. delivering this?
I mean, they're just operating on all cylinders at this point. It's impressive.
Oh, you know, it's interesting. I wonder if they've run the numbers to say if we increase the hourly pay, but because like in Los Angeles, traffic is gone, you can get around so much faster. they actually save money doing a
Right.
2 a.m.
That would be
delivery in
smart.
major cities.
Can you imagine like the algorithms and the routing that goes into like, those delivery routes? How insane that must be.
No.
I would never be
I
smart
don't think
enough
it's
to
I don't think
program
it's as
like that.
smart. I don't think it's as smart as you think. I've seen 3 different Amazon trucks on my street at the same time. Like, they're not that smart.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. That seems like such
Yeah.
a waste.
Yeah.
But can you imagine getting a doorbell ring at 3 in the morning from Amazon? I'd be
Yeah.
fucking pissed.
I had an Amazon driver send me a message in app the other day. It was like 5 p.m. in the evening. It's like, hey, I'm arriving soon. Please lock up your dogs and turn on the lights or whatever. And it's like, well, my dogs are locked up and you don't need lights on, so we're good.
Yeah, wow. Huh.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's getting there. Let's move on to the next
Moving
one.
on.
So Representative Jennifer Wexton has an AI-powered voice announcement. So she's dealing with a medical condition, and she has unveiled a new AI-generated voice that helps her effectively communicate again. And she's expressed immense joy at hearing her old voice again, and experience shared by her colleagues and constituents. This technology helps Wexton continue her work and maintain personal connection, emphasizing the profound impact of AI on individuals with disabilities. It's great. Yeah, I mean, you have a disability, you can't talk, you use this AI to talk for you, even simulating your own voice. Yeah,
It's cool. I think this is I heard Elon and the Neuralink team talk
yeah,
about how basically you could do this but plugged right into someone's brain.
right.
And you're thinking words and coming up with
And they're
words.
playing with computers and everything, and they're moving super fast just by thinking about
Yeah,
it.
that is cool. Like
Yeah.
I think that is cool. What will be interesting if you ever connect someone's brain to an automatic speaking device is the self-filtering thoughts.
Oh
Like
shit.
you
Oh no,
drive,
no, no.
yeah, and
Bro.
you're like walking down the street and you're like, oh boy, that person's ugly. Like, you
Yeah.
can't say that out loud,
Yeah.
but it might, because it doesn't know what the second thought. But yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah.
She is having trouble speaking. um Using voice samples to get your voice is cool. I'm curious to see how well she sees it actually connect with people. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
the form factor of this, if this
Sure.
is like a video of her, like they put in a script and it reads it like in an ad or
Yeah.
something. Or how she uses this in a way like Christopher Walken, like how would he, not Christopher Walken, Superman, Christopher Reeve, um how would he like type? I guess he would type and it would sound like him and not like a robot, and it would be much faster. um and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's cool, it's cool
Let
stuff.
let's move on to our last news of the day. So this one is another guest that we have had on, the
Hmm.
CEO of Toddle,
Are you
the no-code platform.
you're saying what I'm thinking? In order to get acquired or raise money, you have to
You
come
have
on
to
this
come on this
podcast.
show.
I
Yes.
mean, Albert as well. He was almost going to come on.
He was almost gonna
He
come
was
on like
all.
5 times. Pretty
Anyone
much
else?
what we're
Who
saying is
else?
anybody raising money, selling their company, or finding success in this
They all
industry,
come through here.
they've already kinda come through here. We're
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
YC for the no-code industry,
yeah.
but, like, if you
We
call
are.
us that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever.
You got some twin luck here.
Yeah. So this is cool for a lot of reasons. Toddle, it's a no-code platform, a Danish startup, and it's a front end using a JavaScript framework, super snazzy, quick, great interface. They raised $4.3 million. And the other interesting part of it is they did it to help open source the platform, their language and the runtime components by 2025. So another open source platform coming. I think Noodle
This
tried to go open
Noodle
source.
is open source.
It did, but like in a last ditch effort, we're gonna shut down slash let's
Well,
just
yeah,
open
yeah.
source it
That's
kind of
what.
thing.
Yeah, that's what every platform has promised. If we run out of money or shut down,
Yeah.
we will become open source.
But this one,
Toddle's
not this
going
one, they're
open
like,
source first.
we will raise money, have money in the bank, and then go open source to do it right.
This is not uncommon. Like, open source is a common.
Like React and other frameworks,
No more. Think like MongoDB.
Sure.
MongoDB is open source. You can run it yourself. Kubernetes and Docker, they're open source. You can see the code and run it, but they also have hosted versions, right? So
Yeah.
like think like,
Super
they're gonna,
base.
Supabase, and so they're going to continue to provide tooling on top of this open source
Yeah.
language that will keep pushing them. Um, and they will also have all of these partners. And I think that's really cool. I think lots of people have complained. I mean, we see WeWeb is exportable and runnable,
Yeah.
right? And Toddle's taken it one step further and said, no, we just need totally open source. You see everything. There's no weird engine.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
I think that one of the great things about Toddle, I think their superpowers is their CEO is just a rock solid engineer.
Andreas.
Yeah, he's just a really, really good engineer with tons of experience. And so he's just, I think, built phenomenal software that is gonna, that you can leverage and help them build even more on top of now. So I think that's a great opportunity. From everything that I've seen from other players in this space, it's a great front end, very versatile, very capable. They
Yeah.
have 9,000 users, so it's still very early, but there's a lot that could be done here. I'm interested the reasoning behind open source. I just speculate. It's really hard building a platform like this. You need so much help. You need so much funding, and to hit the masses, maybe they just needed more help and more people to get in there and help them. I'm not sure.
I mean, that could be part of it. I think this is part of his vision of the product. I think he's always wanted it to be pretty open source. I think that's kind of what he believes in.
Did he mention
As
anything when he was on last?
I think he was talking about open source and making it more open and exportable, and I think he's just taken it all the way to the edge. And this is kind of like a bet in the sand of like, is this really what people want? Right?
Right.
Like people are
Yeah.
complaining, I don't like no code because it's not open source. I can't see it or I can't export it. And now he's basically said, well, that's no longer a reason to not use this
Yeah.
platform.
Well, one thing about this platform is you can't actually export the code. I believe him. He said you can't export the code of this platform. So maybe open source is another way of saying, okay, we don't need to export the code, but at least allow us to self-host it and control that, and then we'll be able to do it that way.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I remember this specifically from our interview because I've been a real stickler on this lately because it has turned into such a value prop for these front ends and back ends, just being able to export that code and bring it on prem. And
interesting.
yeah. So maybe this is another way that it says, we didn't build in a way that you can export it because that's just not a value prop, but in an open source capacity, you can host this and kind of see it another way.
Yeah. I don't know where the limits are. But it is definitely front end you can deploy it to any code base. You can export the components. So you can build things into React or Webflow.
But you can't expose the entire code like you can of like a WeWeb.
Yeah, maybe this is to fix that.
Speaking of, one last thing that just hit the news is Webflow new pricing. They're now charging for bandwidth, which is
weren't they doing that already? They just changed the amount.
Maybe I haven't people are rioting about this almost of just like, are you charging for bandwidth?
Is that really that surprising?
And the one that I saw, which was significant, was MakerPad's Ben saying essentially they built their front end with Webflow, and I think it was in the last 90 days used over 2 terabytes of bandwidth that will now cost them hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month to host that. Which is just like, bandwidth charging now. I understand work, if you need to run operations or anything, I don't know it. Yeah.
If they've ever shown that they're not getting into full stack apps, they just did.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell are you going to talk about bandwidth as your concern if you can't even get your page to load enough? Like, you're not running any server resources to do stuff.
This feels a lot like when Bubble introduced the workflow unit capacity because
they talk about bandwidth. Actually, that was one of their visitor counts or something.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasoning behind introducing workflow units is there was just a lot of developers that weren't optimizing for workflow units, and so the platform was having to burden the cost of just inefficiency running, right? And so ideally with workflow units being added, they build in a more efficient way, which is, keeps everything more cost effective. And I think the same thing was happening with Webflow, where they would just upload super unoptimized images, like really heavy images, really heavy content that was then, took a lot of bandwidth to then, distribute,
Yeah.
which was not optimized and created more cost for Webflow. And so maybe this is just another way of a no-code platform saying, hey, listen, we know you're no code, but you still got to follow like best practices of web development, which you're not yet. And it's costing us. So now we're going to pass this cost on to you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, some of this is when you live in these worlds like Bubble and Webflow, it's like an insurance company, right? Like the healthy are paying for the sick. And this is kind of what happens. Like the big companies that do it right now have to suffer because the little guys didn't do it right. And they're probably not, like, in terms of net dollars, the small guy is still probably paying way less than MakerPad is at, thousands.
Yeah.
But they're paying double or triple, right? Like it feels like a lot more, but it scales up differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this is a chance for Figma to hop in and go, we'll host your websites.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Or Framer is going to come in and announce some new pricing change in the other direction.
There's a huge opportunity for people to pick up these users that are now really pissed and want to rebuild somewhere else.
Yeah, we saw that with WeWeb, right?
Yeah. Saw that with WeWeb. More businesses will be born out of this.
There will be more companies building Webflow export tools to take it from Webflow into something.
Yep. Maybe this would be a good chance to plug that I'm redesigning NoCodeAlliance at the moment. I'm like a full rebuild of ground up, real design, soup to nut. And I'm actually going to be bringing in other course creators for the first time. So bringing in a Flutterflow course, Airtable course, a Notion course, so a lot of these other courses. And so maybe that's where you can learn a new platform to get outside of
Webflow.
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So excited for that rebuild.
Cool.
But
exciting.
Yeah, I launched it 3 years ago as a weekend project, and I never it's made over $100,000 in revenue and barely has a working like reset password page. Doesn't even have, it still has Bubble built-in email sender. Like totally not.
So that means like half of the last month you haven't been able to send emails.
Probably. It was never built as like a real company, but it has gone on to generate real revenue and real users. Over 2,000 people have taken courses and learned no code through the platform. And so it was kind of just finally time of like, listen, this is a real company. I got to treat it as such and really giving it the love that it deserves now, and pretty proud of where it's at now.
So what was the process? You hired a designer.
I hired a designer.
And then you hired a developer? Did you build it?
I know. So I hired a designer. They went in Figma. I did notes with them. I did a copy pass with them. I'm also updating my messaging. The headline is now teaching tomorrow's tech leaders kind of thing, where it's just, we want to help all professionals, whether you're already a no-code pro or you want to get into no-code, just learn the latest tools in AI to help you with that, right? So a messaging update, copy update. Once it was built in Figma, then our good friend Beck, who was also on the pod, used Design to convert all the Figma to Bubble.
Nice.
And I had 20 pages, and he did it all in 2 hours.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And so he saved me a ton of time there. I'm still going through and connecting workflows, making it mobile responsive. So I probably added another 8 hours to like really make all those pages 20 pages, make all those pages optimized, mobile workflows, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just about there. So that saved me a ton of time. And then, I'm bringing it home myself. Nights and weekends.
Awesome. Nights and weekends.
Back at it. Back at it. Yeah. I didn't have the drive for a while, and then I just started, and now I got it again, but it was just like, until you get started, it's just like, yeah. And then I finally started. It's like, okay, this is great. Let's keep going. Got the drive. We're almost there, guys. Hang with me.
Get it out. Start sending emails, market it, the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sponsor the pod. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyways,
I think that's it. And I think
that's it.
We'll see you next week in No Code.
We will see you next week in No Code and AI.
And